La Quinta, long considered the gem of the desert and the only incorporated city in the United States named after a hotel. How and when did this happen? By January 12, 1883, the last railroad spike was driven and the coming of the railroad was a boom for growth to the Coachella Valley. In 1902, John Marshall homesteaded 320 acres and the present-day La Quinta Cove was then known as Marshall's Cove. Washington Street was then called Marshall's Road. Another early resident of La Quinta, then Santa Rosa Cove, was a man named Norman Happy Lundbeck. It should be stated that anyone who lived in the desert in those days was not only a little bit eccentric, but also fiercely independent, because there was no air conditioning, scarce supply of water, and less than adequate transportation. Lundbeck had a stable and small store. The region was called Point Happy and was in the path of the Bradshaw Stage Road, which stagecoach travelers used as a stop and watering hole. Today, this famous and busy intersection is the southwest corner of Highway 111 and Washington Street. In the early 1920s, Walter H. Morgan of San Francisco acquired 1,400 acres. A few years later, Morgan and S. Ikes, brother of Harold Ikes, who later became President Franklin D. Roosevelt's Secretary of the Interior, formed the Desert Development Company, and on a portion of the southwest corner of Section 36, they planned to build a luxury hotel where the rich and renowned could come for their 3 R's: rest, relaxation, and regeneration. In 1926, the La Quinta Hotel opened its doors, and behind those doors, history and tradition began. The great film star of the 20s and 30s, Greta Garbo, was a frequent celebrity guest of the hotel. Then came screenwriter Frank Capra, who found the La Quinta Hotel to be his Shangri-La for scriptwriting. This was a perfect environment for writing his Academy Award-winning script, which won 5 Academy Awards. It happened one night. He would return many times to write such scripts as Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, Lost Horizon, You Can't Take It With You, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and It's a Wonderful Life. The La Quinta Hotel continues the tradition to this day, with past and present guests such as Bob Hope, Spencer Tracy, Jack Nicklaus, and Andy Williams, and many, many more have found the La Quinta Hotel to be a sanctuary. In the mid to late 30s, Harry Keener had a vision for a luxury club that would serve as a hideout for the movie greats and others. With the 200 lots he bought in La Quinta, he set aside a parcel of land near the top of which was and still is called the Cove. Even though Harry suffered a heart attack and signed over the contract to 2 of his top salesmen, the Desert Club opened Thanksgiving Day 1937. Rita Hayworth and Friend. Presidents, governors, financiers, writers, stage, screen, television, and recording celebrities and sports greats have all passed this way. In the early 1940s, while his Third Army trained in the nearby desert, General George S. Patton would often come to the club. Clark Gable, Errol Flynn, Gary Cooper, William Boyd, Katharine Hepburn, John Wayne, Jane Russell, and Kirk Douglas graced the scene with their presence at the Desert Club. The Desert Club property was deeded over to the city of La Quinta and is now the Fritz Burns Park at 52nd and Avenida, Bermudez. For decades, La Quinta was a sleepy little community, but the need to become a city was apparent due to creeping urbanization. The citizens were represented by 2 organizations, the Chamber of Commerce and the Property Owners Association. A study of incorporation took place, and after 2 years, the city of La Quinta was formed, May 1st, 1982, under the watchful eye of La Quinta's first mayor, Fred Wolf. The city continues to flourish to this day. For a closer look at the incredible history of La Quinta and more, we suggest a trip to the La Quinta Museum, located on Avenida Montezuma in Old Town, just minutes away. The exhibits change on a quarterly basis, but are always unique in experience. An example of one such exhibit is the early and most famous golf club manufacturing process of wooden golf clubs called the Sweet Spot. Memorabilia and photos from the Bob Hope Classic with a display of vintage golf balls. Lee Trevino and Dean Martin, President Gerald Ford, Bob Hope, and others to be remembered. Learn about the Cahuilla Indians and their early inhabitants of the Coachella Valley. You might see a home movie filmed and hosted by Ken Murray from the 30s and 40s, which includes the greats of the greats and some never-before-seen film clips. Here's just a sample of the incredible historical piece of work. Cary Grant, Talk to the Foot. Fred McMurray. Groucho Marx and his brother Harpo. Cary Grant playing tennis. Our historic mural, which depicts the early beginning to present-day happenings, is there for your viewing enjoyment. Our Salton Sea exhibit of pictures that takes you back in time and helps you understand that history. A Women Air Force Service Pilot, Jacqueline Cochran. Women Air Force Service pilots established during World War II. These were the first women ever to fly American military aircraft. The women Air Force Service pilots flew non-combat military missions in the United States, thus freeing their male counterparts for combat missions overseas. Of the original group of 1,114, 11 died in training, and of the remaining 1,102 women Air Force Service pilots, fewer than 300 survive as of 2010. And of course our gift shop, located on the first floor with souvenirs and novelty items to mark your visit to La Quinta and the Quinta Museum. We invite you to join us for an experience you will enjoy. It's our pleasure and honor to serve and share the La Quinta Museum with you. Thanks for watching.